Hello, I am Elsie Reads, and Elsie reads best audiobooks. And today we are doing the very famous Atomic Habits by James Clear. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, tells a story from his high school days. When I was in high school, my friends and I were playing baseball. My friend's bat slipped from his hands and flew right between my eyes. It hit me so hard that a small part of my brain slammed against my skull. That single impact caused multiple fractures. I broke my nose and nearly destroyed both eye sockets. All the other kids started screaming. A teacher ran over, put a hand on my shoulder, and said, "Son, you'll be okay." I was almost unconscious, but I managed to answer a few questions. She asked, "What year is this?" I said, 1998, even though it was actually 2002. Then she asked, "Who is the President of the United States?" I replied, "Bill Clinton," when it was really George W. Bush. Finally, she asked, "What is your mother's name?" It took me 10 seconds to remember. After those brief Q&A, I blacked out. An ambulance arrived and took me to the local hospital, but the doctors there knew my chances were slim. They transferred me to a higher-level trauma center. By the time my parents arrived, a team of at least 20 doctors and nurses was ready to move me because the local doctors had already discussed my case with them by phone. I couldn't have surgery immediately. They needed to realign my bones first, so they sedated me into a coma with an injection. My parents weren't strangers to that hospital. 10 years earlier, they had brought my little sister there when she had blood cancer. Coming in with me must have stirred painful memories. They kept me alive on machines for many days. When I finally woke up, I went through countless operations. My sense of smell was gone. One day, a nurse told me to exhale fully and then try to smell. To my surprise, I could detect scents again, though one of my eye sockets had shifted slightly. They say time heals everything. Time certainly healed my injuries, but it couldn't repair my psychology or my habits. For the next 3 or 4 years of school, I lived in fear. My life began to change when I enrolled at Denison University. To bring order to my life, I started focusing on small habits. While other guys in the dorm stayed up late playing video games, I cultivated the habit of going to bed early. Whereas their rooms were always messy, I kept mine clean and organized. And when everyone else spent weekends at the movies, I stuck to my own routines. I developed a habit of studying by going to the library. Every semester, I made some change. In my second semester, I began coming first in the class. In my third semester, I started going to the gym and built up some muscle. The biggest change came in my last semester, when I began compounding all the habits I'd built in earlier terms. I was awarded my university's highest academic honor, the President's Medal, and on top of that, I was named the top male athlete. A few years earlier, I was scared of the very sport I ended up excelling at. None of this happened by chance. It happened because of my habits, my atomic habits. Today, from James Clear's Atomic Habits, we'll look at the 4 laws for building any good habit or breaking any bad one. But first, we need to understand how habits form. Every habit goes through 4 steps. Cue, the trigger; craving, the desire; response, the action; reward, the benefit. Let's walk through an example. Suppose your relatives drop off a box of tasty chocolates as they leave. If you stash that box somewhere out of sight while you're busy, you'll probably forget about it. But if you leave the chocolate box on the table right outside your door, every time you walk out of your room, you'll see it. Step 1, the cue is triggered. If you like chocolate, step 2, the craving hits. Yum, those look delicious. Your mouth waters. Next comes step 3, the response. You walk over, open the box, and eat one. Finally, step 4, the reward. Your brain registers that eating from that box feels good. Now, each time you leave your room, you see the box, crave chocolate, eat one, and get a tasty payoff, reward, and a bad habit is formed. But how do we build good habits? James Clear lays out 4 simple laws. Let's explore the first. 1. Make it obvious. Researchers in England ran an experiment on the science of habit. They recruited 248 participants and divided them into 3 groups:
A, B, and C. Group A was told simply to track how much they exercised each day. Group B was told to track their exercise and, before working out, to consume some short content explaining its benefits. Group C did everything Group B did, plus they were instructed to repeatedly tell themselves exactly when they would exercise each day. When the results came in, only 35% of participants in groups A and B managed to exercise at least once per week, but a remarkable 91% of group C did. Motivation alone didn't work. Habits did. The secret was attaching the new behavior to an existing cue. This gives us a simple formula.
After current habit, I will new habit. For example, if you want to start meditating, after I finish my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. If you want to exercise, as soon as I put on my running shoes, I will go straight to the gym. If you want to practice gratitude, right after dinner, I will write down 3 good things that happened today. If you want a stronger marriage, when I get into bed at night, I will give my partner a kiss before falling asleep. If you want to learn more, as soon as I brush my teeth in the morning, I will listen to a book summary. By making the cue obvious and attaching your new habit to something you already do, you remove friction and let habits work for you. I picked up the habit of studying by going to the library each semester. In my second semester, I began ranking first in class. In the third semester, I started going to the gym and built some muscle. But the biggest transformation came in my final semester, when I compounded all my previous habits. Studying routines, exercise, time management, and everything clicked. I received my university's highest academic honor, the President's Medal, and was also named the top male athlete. Just a few years earlier, I'd been terrified of the very sport I ended up dominating. None of this was luck. It was the power of habits, my atomic habits. Today, we'll explore James Clear's 4 laws for building good habits and breaking bad ones. But first, let's recall the 4-step habit loop that any behavior follows. Cue, the trigger that initiates the habit. Craving, the desire or motivation to act. Response, the actual behavior you perform. Reward, the benefit your brain registers. We've already seen the chocolate box example for a bad habit. Now let's look at how to shape our environment to make good habits inevitable. Law 2. Make it attractive. Environment design. Consider the story of Judith Polgar, who became the youngest ever female grandmaster in chess. Her parents, Laszlo and Clara, were scholars who believed talent isn't innate but cultivated. To prove their point, they surrounded their children with chess from birth. Books on grandmasters lined the shelves, posters of champions adorned the walls, and every evening the family read and discussed chess games together. Their daughter, Judith, gravitated toward the game, playing constantly. When her father once told her, "Enough, go to sleep," she replied, "Daddy, these chess puzzles won't let me stop." Both her sisters followed the same upbringing, and all 3 became world-class players. Judith, the youngest, worked harder than anyone else, achieving grandmaster status at 15, even younger than Bobby Fischer had. The lesson? If you want a habit, change your environment. Fill your space with the cues of your goal, biographies, reminders, posters, and surround yourself with people who share your interests. Law 3. Make it easy. Victor Hugo famously promised his publisher he'd finish his novel in a year, but found himself wasting time on parties and side projects. With the deadline looming, he told his assistant to pack up all his clothes in a locked cupboard across the hall, leaving only a shawl in his study. With no other options, Hugo stayed at his desk, shawl on shoulders, writing day and night. He completed the book 2 weeks before its deadline, and it became a bestseller. The principle is simple. Remove friction so the habit becomes the path of least resistance. Law 4. Make it satisfying. One couple wanted to stop wasting money on impulse purchases. They knew long-term savings would be rewarding, but the benefit felt too distant. So they opened a separate no-spend account and agreed every time they successfully resisted a frivolous buy, they'd each transfer 1 rupee into it. The instant gratification of watching the balance grow turned saving into a game and saved them a fortune.
The key is to deliver an immediate, tangible reward for a new habit so your brain learns to crave that feeling right away. Quick recap. Cue, craving, response, reward, the 4 stages of any habit. Law 1. Make it obvious. Stack new habits onto existing ones. Example, after I brush my teeth, I will, etc. Law 2. Make it attractive. Design your environment and social circle to draw you toward your goals. Law 3. Make it easy. Reduce friction until the new behavior is the simplest choice. Law 4. Make it satisfying. Give yourself an immediate reward so your brain wants to repeat the habit. By applying these 4 laws, you can build powerful routines that compound into remarkable results and break the habits that hold you back. If you want to break a habit, make the cue invisible. For example, lock the chocolate box in a cupboard and give the key to your mother. To control craving, Law 2, make the habit unattractive, or for building a good habit, make it enticing.
Just as Laszlo and Clara Polgar turned chess into something fun and engaging for their daughters, you need to frame your target habit so it draws you in. Contrast this with the coach in the movie Dangal, whose training method for the Fogot sisters wasn't exactly easy and fun. Sometimes making things feel a little too hard can backfire. The third law, response, is all about ease. Make it effortless to do a habit you want and put friction in the way of the one you don't. We saw how Victor Hugo instructed his assistant to stash away every piece of clothing except a shawl, so his only option was to sit at his desk and write. Finally, the fourth law controls reward. Make the payoff satisfying when you want to form a habit, and make it painful when you want to break one. Remember the couple who opened a separate savings account and agreed to transfer $1 into it every time they resisted a needless purchase? That instant win turned saving money into a game, and they ended up saving far more. Friends, building good habits and breaking bad ones is absolutely crucial. If you have a friend or family member struggling with this, share these tips with them. They could really help. If you don't want to miss more videos like this, hit subscribe and tap the bell icon. And let me know in the comments what topic you'd like us to cover next. See you again soon.